Hope you all are good, doing well. So today we are here to cover one of the important themes with respect to our UPSC as well as PCS examination. The theme of today's lecture is Parliament of India. So today is 31st Jan 2025 and this lecture is prepared and presented by me. My name is Shama. So we know if I talk about the Parliament of India is a central pillar of country's democracy. And in this lecture we are going to see in detail about its evolution, historical evolution, about the structure of Parliament, about the function and challenges it faces. So let's move further. So time and again I always emphasize, whenever you guys are reading something, you have to connect it with your fodder, and then only and with fodder as well as with the previous year question paper. So you can connect this Parliament topic with the prelims paper of polity, like subject polity, and in GS paper mains, if I talk in GS paper 2, you can connect it with the polity section. So let's start our lecture. If we look at the India's Parliament, we can say it is the supreme legislative body of India, and it consists of two houses, that is Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, that is the House of People and Council of State. If we move further, we can say the Parliament play a crucial role in lawmaking, governance and representations. Apart from that, there is one factual information which has been provided, and PCS examination question has been asked about the establishment of Parliament. So you have to remember the date as well as year, that is 26th Jan 1950. And further we can see we follow the bicameral legislature, that is the reason we are having bicameral structure, and we are having Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and President. This question has also been asked with respect to our state PCS examination. And the first general election, if I talk, then it happened in the year 1951-52. This question has been also asked in our examinations. So let's talk about the Parliament of India or historical evolution, and before that there is some key term which I will key takeaway which I would explain here, that if I talk about the India Parliament, it has a rich history if you include it pre as well as post independence development. So it operates on a bicameral system consisting of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So the Parliament has various functions including legislative duty, financial control and ensuring accountability. So there are main three sessions of Parliament each year, and that is budget, which we are going to see tomorrow only. The budget is going to be on the table, and the monsoon and the winter session. If I talk about the technological advancement, like e-Parliament initiatives are making India's Parliament more transparent and accessible. Let's talk about the historical evolution of India's Parliament. If I talk about the pre-independence legislative development, then I can say the root of Indian Parliament can be traced back to the colonial era. The British introduced several legislative reforms to involve Indians in governance. So the Government of India Act 1919, which is also known as Montagu-Chelmsford Reform, was a significant step. So this act led to the creation of bicameral legislature, which include the Central Legislative Assembly and the Council of State. So this act also introduced the institution of a speaker as well as deputy speaker in the year 1921. And if I talk about the first speaker and deputy speaker, that was the Frederick White was the first speaker, and Sachidanand Sinha was the deputy speaker who got this position. So with respect to the act, I already emphasized in previous lecture also, like UPSC has always asked one question each year at least from this act. You can you should read from the Regulating Act of 1773 till the Indian Independence Act 1947, and you should know the key features or key initiative which has been taken under this act. Let's talk about the post-independence reform. Like after gaining independence in the year 1947, India adopted a new constitution which came into effect on 26th January 1950. So the first general election under this constitution held in the year 1951 and 52, leading to the formation of the first elected parliament in April 1952. So the Indian Parliament was established as the supreme legislative body in the country following the Westminster model. So Article 79 to 124 in Part 5 of the Constitution detail the organization, composition and functions of the Parliament. Let's have a look towards the significance and constitutional amendment with structure of India's parliament. So what we can see here, if I talk about the significance of constitutional amendment, over the time several constitutional amendment have shaped the function of India's parliament. We can see from the very first constitutional amendment which happened just in the year 1952 till the currently we had already 105 constitutional amendment act. So we have seen how they with the time Indian parliament has played a role in the development of constitution as well, and this is one of the reason why we called Indian constitution a living document. So here we can see, let's come to the parliament section only. So over the years several constitution amendment have shaped the functioning of India's parliament. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976 is particularly noteworthy as it brought about the extreme changes including the curtailment of judicial review and the enhancement of Parliament's power. Another significant amendment is the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1985, which introduced the anti-defection law to prevent the political defection and ensure stability in the governance. So this both article is very important, and the questions in PCS and UPSC prelims as well as mains has been asked with respect to this both amendment as well as the cases with respect to this. So the evolution of India's parliament reflect the country's journey from colonial rule to the vibrant democracy. Each phase of development has contributed to robust legislative framework that governs India's today. If I talk about the structure of India's parliament, then India's parliament consists of President, Council of State, that is Rajya Sabha, House of People, that is Lok Sabha. So this structure ensures a comprehensive representations of Indian populace and the state. So if let's first talk about the bicameral legislature, bicameral system, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. India follow a bicameral system, meaning it has two houses in its parliament. The Lok Sabha, House of People, is composed of member directly elected by the people, and Rajya Sabha, Council of State, consists of a member elected by the Legislative Assembly of State and Union Territories. If I talk about the composition and membership, Lok Sabha can have maximum 552 members, and now we can see that two Anglo-Indian has been removed also. So there were two Anglo-Indian which were supposed to be elected in the Lok Sabha, but now this Anglo-India provision has been deleted from our constitutions. So if this 552 is something which of the earlier time. So including up to 20 members from UT and 2 members of like the Anglo-Indian community which I was explaining. So you have to now you can remember that it's 550 member only. And the Rajya Sabha on the other hand has 250 member with 112 member nominated by the President for their expertise in a various field like literature, science, art and social services. So the question has been asked with respect to this composition of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. If I talk about the role and responsibility, then the primary role of parliament is to make law, and both the house participate in legislative process. But Lok Sabha has more power in financial matter, and Rajya Sabha review and suggest changes to the bill proposed by the Lok Sabha. Additionally, what we can see, Parliament hold the government accountable through the various mechanism like we have, that is question hour, debates and committee. The question has been asked already with respect to this term, be it the question hour, 0 hour, committee. The question has been asked in UPSC already. So the Parliament of India is a vital institution that uphold the democratic framework of the country, ensuring that the voice of people and state are heard and represented. So let's move to the next part, and what we are going to see here, the functions and power of India's parliament. So the role, power, function of Parliament of India include a vast range of areas encompassing lawmaking, representation and oversights of government. So the parliament play a crucial role in shaping the nation's laws and policies, ensuring that government remain accountable to the people. So let's first look at the point, that is sessions of Indian Parliament. Indian Parliament holds 3 main sessions each year, and these sessions are crucial for managing country's legislative business. So the process of calling all members to meet is known as summoning of parliament, and it is the president who summons each house. The question has been asked again from this, who summons the house? So that is the president. So the gap between 2 sessions cannot exceed 6 months, ensuring the parliament meet at least twice a year. This question has been also asked in previous year question paper of UPSC and PCS examination. Like the question was, as per the constitution, parliament should meet 3 times in a year, and it is not. No doubt we are having 3 sessions in a year, but it is not. Constitution is not saying anything about the meeting. Constitution only speaks the gap between the 2 sessions cannot exceed cannot exceed 6 months. So this is what is written in a constitution. The option given was wrong. Let's talk about the legislative process in India's parliament. So this legislative procedure in parliament lies at the heart of functioning of the parliament as the supreme legislative body of India. A bill is a proposal for a new law or a change to an existing law. It became an act or a law when it is passed by both the House of Parliament and receive President's assent. So this legislative process by both the House of Parliament is the same for both the houses, like for the Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha, and every bill must pass through several stages in each house. There are 3 stages. You might have read already in your class notes or while reading your Lakshmikant. So each bill passes through 3 stages. First stage introduction, second stage we see the discussion about it and the committee got established and all. In the third stage we see again the conversation on the bill, and if there is certain amendment which we have to see, then the bill move to the second house, and then the second house also has a 3 stage in the first, second and third stage, and if there's some changes, then again you might have read this all. I need not to explain, otherwise the lecture will be very lengthy. So you might have also read the condition of in terms of ordinary bill, the condition in terms of financial bill, the condition in terms of money bill, and condition in terms of constitutional amendment bill, because the question has been already asked with respect to this bill and the power of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So I request you go and read your notes if you cannot recall this all. So if I talk about the introduction of the bill can be introduced in the either house by the either minister or a private member. Question has been asked already, who is said to be a private member? The member who are not minister, they are called as a private member. So they are classified into different type, like ordinary bill, money bill, constitutional amendment bill, financial bill. So the process begins with a first reading where the bill is introduced and objectives are explained. Then we see committee. After the initial introduction, the bill are often referred to the committee for detailed examinations, and this committee scrutinize the bill provision, suggest changes, prepare reports, and the step ensures that bill is thoroughly reviewed from the before further discussion. Then it's the time for the presidential assent. So both the house pass the bill, it's sent to the president for approval. The president can either give the assent, withhold the assent, return the bill for the reconsideration. But here again you have to you have to understand, like each situation, like when we talk about with respect to the money bill, it is different. With respect to the constitutional amendment bill, it is different. With respect to the ordinary bill, it is different. So the power of a president assent differs with respect to the bill also. So once the president gives assent, the bill become a law. So the legislative process ensure that every bill is carefully considered and debated, reflecting the democratic principle of India's parliament. Let's move further and talk about the privilege and immunities of parliament member. So parliamentary privileges are the rights. Privileges are the rights and immunities enjoyed by the member of parliament, that is MPs in India, to enable them to discharge their duty and functions effectively. So these privileges are essential for maintaining authority, dignity and independence of parliament. The first point which we are going to see here, the freedom of speech. So MPs have right to express their view freely within the wall of parliament without fear of legal action. So this freedom is crucial for open and honest debate on national issue. This privilege ensures that MP can speak their mind without any external pressure. Exemption from arrest. So, during a parliamentary session, MPs are protected from arrest in a civil case. The immunity allows them to attend the session and participate in legislative activities without interruption. However, this does not apply to the criminal cases or preventive detention. The question in UPSC and PCS has been asked with respect to freedom of speech of MPs, exemptions from arrest. The question has already been asked. I request you go and read this point in detail with your class notes or with your notebook, whatever you are reading. If I talk about the code of conduct, MPs are expected to adhere a code of conduct that uphold the integrity and decorum of the parliament. This includes maintaining discipline, avoiding conflict of interest and acting in public interest. So the code of conduct is designed to ensure that MP perform their function responsibly and ethically. So the privilege and immunity is granted to MPs are vital for a smooth functioning of parliament and democratic process. So they allow MP to perform their role without undue interference or fear from the party or from other member. So let's talk about the parliamentary committee. The question has been asked again from this section. Go and read each committee in detail, at least 3 financial part 1 the question has been asked. So parliamentary committee play a crucial role in Indian parliament. They help in detailed examinations of various legislative and administrative issues. So these committees are essential for a smooth functioning of parliament and ensure that legislative process is thorough and efficient. So let's talk and compare the other parliamentary system. If we compare Indian Parliament with UK Parliament, then we can say the UK Parliament is often seen as the mother of all the parliament, and it is a bicameral system consisting of House of Commons and House of Lords, as we are also having. So the House of Commons is made up of a member of parliament, that is MP, who are elected, while the House of Lords are appointed member, including like peers, bishops, hereditary peers, and the UK Parliament has a strong tradition of parliamentary sovereignty, meaning it holds the supreme legal authority and can create or end any law. But when we see with respect to India, we cannot say that Indian Parliament is a sovereign. Rather, Indian Parliament has certain restriction. It cannot create, like it has to follow constitution also. So the question in mains examination has been asked with respect to the difference between UK Parliament and Indian Parliament system. Let's compare it with the US Congress. The US Congress is again a bicameral legislature consisting of a House of Representatives and the Senate. So unlike UK and India, the US follows a presidential system where the president is separate from the legislature and member of House of Representatives are elected based on the population, while each state have 2 Senate regardless of its size. So this system ensures a balance of power between populous and less populous state. So like even with respect to Rajya Sabha, we are also saying we should follow this model of US and we should give each state equal number of seats. Right now currently we are providing with respect to the populations, but there is a debate over it also. So if I talk about the parliaments in other democracy, like many other democracy have their own unique parliamentary system, like Germany has the Bundestag and Bundesrat, while Japan has the National Diet, and this system vary in their structure and function but share a common goal of representing the people and making law. So some countries like Italy have a parliamentary system with a strong emphasis on a coalition government, which can lead to frequent change in leadership. Let's talk about the challenges and the issue that is faced. Yeah, let's have a look at the challenges. Indian Parliament challenges. So if I talk about the Indian Parliament, it faces several challenges that impact its effectiveness. Frequent disruption and a low number of sitting hinder meaningful debate on a significant legislation. corruption and influence of money in politics further complicate the situation. If I talk about the role of parliament in Indian democracy, we can say the Parliament of India is a cornerstone of the country's democratic system and governance. So we know already that it comprises of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and it play a vital role in shaping, implementing legislation and representing the diverse voice of the nation, upholding the principle of democracy. Technology and innovation in India's parliament, like e-parliament initiative has been started by the government, digital voting system has been started, transparency and accessibility has been started by the government. So let's move further and let's conclude this chapter. So what we can say at the end, the Parliament of India stands as a cornerstone of a country's democratic framework, and it play a role in shaping nation's law, policies and governance. And with respect, being an aspirant as well as being a citizen, understanding its structure, function and challenges is essential for everyone. So this is the reason, like, I wanted to make this lecture on the Parliament of India. So in this lecture, I hope you have understood what I try to make you understand. So, and you should have understood, and you should go and revise your basic notes also. So that's all for today. Thank you. And if you like this lecture, don't forget to hit the like button, do share with your family and friend, and be kind always, keep smiling and study hard. Thank you.